Welcome back, everyone. I'm Kyo.
And I'm Cal.
And we are the Manga Mommies, a podcast about everything to do with manga and sometimes our lives, mixed in, sprinkled in between. So, as always, would you kindly get a drink, take a seat, and let's chat? And also get a snack, too, because this is going to be a doozy. Today, we'll be reviewing our March's manga of the month, Apothecary Diaries. Yay! It's so pretty. Look at her. Oh, she's all like, ooh, ooh. The review that got me because I didn't put review. But first, Kels, let's have a slight reminder to anyone listening or watching who doesn't have a quick rundown.
All right. So, just to recap from earlier this month when we talked about this. So, the Apothecary Diaries authors are Natsu Hikoya and Itsuki Nano. This is published by Square Enix, and it is a seinen. Its original run was May 25th, 2017 to present, and it currently has 14 volumes. This is based on the light novel by the same authors. It also has an alternative manga adaptation of sorts called Mao Mao's Notes from the Inner Palace. Though the first the first novel release, the one we're talking about here, has been said to be better paced than the second manga. There is also an anime that's currently licensed by Crunchyroll and Netflix as well. It's from October 2023 to present, and it currently has 31 episodes as of the original date of this recording at the beginning of the month. So, a little bit about the plot here. The story is based in Imperial China and follows Mao Mao, an unassuming girl raised in an unassuming town by her apothecary father, who never imagined that the rare palace would have anything to do with her, until she was kidnapped and sold into the service there. Though she looks ordinary, Mao Mao has a quick wit, a sharp mind, and an extensive knowledge of medicine. When she learns that the Emperor's newborns and concubines are critically ill, she decides to investigate the cause using her experience as an apothecary. She successfully finds the mystery of their illness, and even though she wanted to remain anonymous, she captures the attention of Jinshi, an influential eunuch. If I could speak, we'd have a great day. Then she is tasked with solving the mysteries for the royal court.
Awesome. So, my question to you is, Kels, since you've given us all this synopsis and everything else like you usually do, copy and paste. So.
Oh, it's the same file, dude. I just
I know.
bring it up again.
I know. It's fine. It's fine. That's why I say reminder. It's not like I'm expecting you to rewrite something.
How dare I plagiarize my own work?
Yeah, there you go. So what did you think about it this month? Like, how far did you get? What you think about it?
So I got not as far as I was hoping. Life kind of got in the way on that one, but I did really enjoy it. I actually really liked the plot. I thought that it was really well paced throughout all of it. I did venture over to the light novel a little bit just to kind of read and see what was going on there, and I got a couple of chapters in. Overall, I was impressed with it. Like I knew from doing a little bit of research on it that it was a decent storyline, but like I was actually really impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will continue reading this.
Yeah. So the alternative manga that everyone mentions that there's two, and everybody's like, "What do you mean there's two?" So the alternative one isn't actually in America. It's not translated. Whatever reason it wasn't brought over here. The novels first. That's been the big issue. So let's run down the what I call the triangle of fandom. Triangle of fandom. It's not really triangle because I don't want to know how to do it right. Okay. So, in the many years that I have been collecting and learning and growing as a fan of everything to do with manga and anime and light novels, there is considerably a triangle when it comes to it. And then kind of where the triangles meet in the middle of each corner before they meet is where you would have the mixers of the fandoms. So You got your anime onlys, your light novelists, and your manga goers. Depending on where you fall on that triangle is depending on, and people like me that like all of them are pretty much the whole triangle. But we do tend to run toward our favorite. My toward is manga, but I do tend to spread out to the light novel and the anime as well, especially if you can't find it or they don't make it. That's where a lot of the fighting comes in because you have your anime onlys is what they call them, anime onlys fans that are coming in there like, we know better. We know what's going to be. This is the canon. There's nothing else that's canon because this is the true form. Then you got your light novelists that come in. They know everything at this point because, hate to tell you, everything that's gone on between the anime and the manga right now is only book 3. Only up to book 3, I think beginning of book 4 now of the light novel. And the light novel was how many again?
14.
Yeah. So y'all behind. Enough. Enough. Everybody's got to stop. It's game over. Okay. You're not gonna win. You're not the favorite child. Go on. Go read the light novel. Trust me. The frog scene is not as spicy as it gets right now. Okay, just go. So they fight over the love between them. They're fighting over whether if she is autistic or not. They're fighting over the heritage of Jinshi. I'm probably gonna say like all these names wrong, and it's okay if I even say the names. I may just resort to like the emperor or the ex-emperor or all that fun stuff.
That's fair.
Their ages. I mean, the fight's kind of splitting everywhere. That I've noticed about a lot of this. So, spoiler warning: we are a manga only podcast, but I do branch out, and we have been known to do it between anime, light novel, and manga. I try to accompany everything in between, everything in it, for the most part. So, spoiler warning: this is mostly going to result with the manga. I may jump a little bit into the light novel. Definitely going to go into the anime because there's 2 different things here that I want to make clear with that. But the light novel, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I'm not going to do it. I've read it. I'm all caught up. I'm not going to spoil it for you. That's where the spoiler kills for me. But I know the manga is ahead of the anime currently because the anime is trying to split it into 3 parts like it does with the light novel in a way. So, that being said, you have learned your spoiler warning. There's not a skip ahead. There's not a time here. You can stop it and run away. Or you could be spoiled and still watch it later and still be like, oh, look at them. They're so cute together. Whatever you want to do at this point. I'm a little heated about a lot of this because I think it's only fair that the triangle's there. I wish people understood that. There are people in there that are going to rage bait people.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
let it go. Let it go. I'm heated for a lot of different reasons, but just let it go. And there's a lot of reasons why I honestly believe that the fighting has been between a lot of this stuff. So, first off, I'll make it clear their ages. Okay? So, she, at the beginning of the manga, is about 17. He is 19. It is not confirmed that he is 19 until later on when his little side dude tells him, you're acting like a child and not like you're 24, like you're trying to pretend to be. Okay? So he looks older. He looks like he could be 24. And that's where everybody's like, oh my God, he's a pedophile. age gap. Oh my God. And that's not how that, no, 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 no. You can look older than what you are, and you can look younger than what you are. Because she looks what, about 13, 14, because she's considered flat chested.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this. Everybody's like, oh, well, it was malnutrition. No, 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 no. It was probably her genes, in effect. You don't really know too much of the DNA, what was actually taken between the mother and the father. That's a whole thing that plays a part. B, she uses poisons on her. You don't know how that affected her age or her appearance besides her little scar arm because she eats poisons. You don't know what that does to her and her system and her body and how long she'll actually live. Blah, 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 blah. It's the whole thing. My brother's younger than me by 3 years. And he looks twice, 3 times my age sometimes. Everybody thinks I'm the younger sibling and I'm not. So the more you know, people, it's a thing. It happens. He can get off saying that he's 24 because that's what he's supposed to do. 100% that is what he's supposed to do. That was what his role is, to look older, to be all like, hey, baby, how you doing? And they go, oh! To point out who's for the emperor and who's not for the current emperor.
Exactly.
Literally what we're talking about here. Oh, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts when they point the age crap. No, they're in the front. They're okay. um Fighting over where if she is autistic or not. This is like what did we say last time the dynasty was for this?
Tang Dynasty.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was based on Imperial China during the Tang Dynasty, often referencing knowledge closer to the late Ming Dynasty.
Right. Autism didn't exist. She was quirky. Honestly, to be honest, nowadays, if she was, she would be a high functioning one. I'm technically probably a high function. I've never been tested, but I'm probably technically, because there's a lot of stuff that does ping with it, and that's been a lot of things where everybody fighting about it. If she was, she wouldn't be. She'd be a high functioning one.
And I mean,
She just
even
doesn't.
then, to me, like that it's such an insignificant point. Like, if you want to believe she's autistic because that's what works for you, cool. If you want to believe that she's just quirky, cool. What difference does it make whether or not
Repetent,
she's got a
repetent.
touch of the tism?
Well, it goes about to representation.
Yes,
That's all it is.
but overall, like it's not the only manga that's ever potentially had like one of their protagonists be autistic.
Yeah, and it's true. So personally, yeah, I can see it, but I'm not going to say that she doesn't understand love and that she doesn't see love and that, oh, she truly thinks that she doesn't know that she loves him until later. No, she knows she likes him. She knows all of that. The first day she saw him, she immediately thought he was a woman. Who's that beautiful woman? Oh shit, that's a guy? Oh shit, he knows I can read? She is about day one about her and her survival. Plain as Jane. She tells you in the beginning she was kidnapped because her makeup faded and they thought she was sellable. In the palace, she says you keep your head down because people like us get our heads chopped off. Period. It's about survival. It's not, oh, she knew she was gorgeous, that's why she wore the makeup. No. She knew she was a target because she had legs. And I'm not going to go any more into body parts about that. but legs is what I'm going to say. Because as she said, from the brothel to her home goes from a very good looking area to a not so hot one, full of disease and very horny men. Sorry. Anyone who has been in a situation like that, and I'm sorry to you all, it's horrible. I understand completely. Trust me. I'm not going to go there, but trust me. You make yourself look not so hot. High school, I gained a shit ton of weight because I grew up with that lovely faction of fat people are ugly and don't want to be with anyone. No one wants you. Really? Because I don't want any men touching me right now. I'm going to gain 60 million pounds. It's about disguise. Survival of the fittest. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Yep.
She sees him flirting. She knows exactly his game. Day one. It's a game. There's no emotion in it. It's about, like, hell, like women flirting for a free coffee. It's a game. Men flirting for a free coffee. It goes either way. I'm not sexist. That ball can go either way. I've seen it.
Generic
I've
person X trying to acquire beverage.
Right. I'm going to go with free drink because there's a lot of other things I can go with, but I'm not. But it is 100% survival. And I think a lot of people aren't putting that in that perspective. They're just like, oh my gosh, she made herself ugly. Oh my gosh, she must be autistic and doesn't understand love. No, she understands love. Understand.
I think
Hell, she
people
taught a
take
sex class.
I think people take on that really romanticized version of the past with this one, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, everything is just love and rainbows and ooh, like he's macho, but he loves me. It's like, no, no. Did you forget that like
They
women were property? And,
they project.
if you
It's a
didn't conform to
projection
their
thing.
stereotypes, you were in trouble?
It goes back to, again, getting with manga, and I'm talking about Twilight. Again, with Twilight, she was a one-dimensional projection. That was her job in the book. To make her seem plain Jane for anyone to be her when they read. Everyone's trying to do that with Mama. She's not like that. Granted, if you do see yourself as her in certain lights of the way, that's fine. Then you're just feeling represented, and that's fine. And I think that's where the disconnect comes in with that in the age and love aspect. They're like, oh my god, it's not. It's a mix between CSI and House, and there's probably another one I'm not thinking of, and that's why it's so big right now is because it's not strictly based on like the love aspect that you see in a lot of these. It's not really
Everybody's a little
love.
bit Mau Mau.
Yeah, because it's not really based love at first sight. It may be some of attraction at first sight because she well and Dales know he's a very good looking man. And again, she tricks herself because she's like, oh, it's a good looking man. Too bad he can't do nothing about it. Again, I'm not pointing out a lot of stuff, even though the way she says it and then the way with the other the frog episode kind of contradicts itself. From I don't think she actually understands what she's saying when she says that he's castrated 100%, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it's the
like
difference
like
between
Google
like
it yourself. Granted, I don't think, yeah, I know she's still technically virgin, so it's a whole thing, which is fine. That's representation. I'm not even getting the words right because I'm so frustrated with it. Representation. We're people. We're humans. It's whatever. Uh, heritage. Next one. Heritage. That's another thing I got a little bit of an issue with some of these people. So it's from her perspective. It's considered her diary. So it's a lot of it her perspective. And she goes about it saying that, hey, even my father told me, I'm not going to quote it right here now, but pretty much it's like, don't say what you're thinking because false accusations will make things bad happen. Pretty much. And a lot of people are She gives you the warnings, but you don't click. So with heritage, that's been another thing that's been an issue, mostly with Genshi's heritage, not my house, Henshi's. So it's, you know, at first it comes down to, oh, the baby swapping. That's a whole thing. Um, as of right now, in the manga and the anime, he doesn't quite know the truth. He suspects it, and he even says it in the anime where he's like, what I thought was my father is my brother, when it's actually reverse. It's actually really his father, the current emperor, and the older emperor's not. Older emperor is like the grandfather. So it's the current emperor's son. He was swapped. Both of the women decided to swap their babies because the old emperor was a pedophile, highly known to the thing. The current emperor's mother was 10 when she had him by C-section. And to lay that out, because a lot of people don't seem to get that, back then there was no anesthesia. There was no spinal taps. So all those 7 years, I've had 2. In my second one, the spinal tap failed twice. So they were already at my uterus when I immediately felt everything. That was fun. So imagine being probably held down by several men, probably told to bite on something, maybe giving a drug that could numb you out, maybe given some alcohol to numb the pain. But you have to feel that at 10 years old and have a child ripped out of you.
Not to mention that the survival rates of that before modern medicine were like insurmountably low.
Yeah.
Like it was a death
So
sentence.
her adoptive father was the one that did that procedure because he was from the West. He actually had to have the personal procedure done on himself in order to be able to work in the palace. Because from when before her first son was born, a another consort had a daughter, and the old emperor at the time's mother didn't say that was a legitimate child, and she said, "Oh, well, I had sex with the doctor," and that was a whole thing. So then it became a rule that even now they had to, and she feels bad for that. The woman feels bad that he had to have that procedure done in order to, help her in the birth. But yet, you get people online that are like, torture the old emperor. That was so mean of her just because she had a C-section scar. She was 10. That's very traumatic. I'm sorry. You're victim blaming at this point. He did that to her, full and well knowing what he was doing.
Considering that, that body of that poor child who was 9 was nowhere near equipped to carry a pregnancy, and even jumping real world statistically, like children, because that's what they are, who end up becoming pregnant do not carry to term. It is not a good, healthy thing. They have lifelong problems. Like
Hmm.
it's horrible all the way through, not to mention all of like the psychological trauma of having to
Yeah.
deal with that.
Yeah. So that whole scene with her, oh, I'm 100% on her side. And a lot of people like fight about that. Mm-mm. I'm sorry. I felt it myself. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend none of it at all whatsoever. Um, so it is known well, it is known in the further down, but it is somewhat known in the anime and in the manga. There's two different versions of what the Empress says. And I have that. I have that right here, my little notes. So in the anime, this is where I'm thinking everybody's getting confused about whether the heritage, whether or not father, son, not father, son, or brother, whatever.
Mhm.
In the anime, she says that she's talking about Jinchi at this point. Uh child of immorality, child of mistake. No matter what they say, a precious child nonetheless. That is what she says in pretty much all the translations of the anime. Okay. However, in the manga and in the light novel, she says this, and I don't know why they changed this, because I think this what she says here 100% goes with what actually happened. But she says, after I realized this child could be in danger, I acted quickly and deceivingly. Let people say that he's illegitimate or a changeling, which is a child who was changed with another baby. My love for this kid is real. She did not want, because the second son is what got changed with Genji. So the second son she had after the night of cussing the man out secretly in his chambers and torturing him until he went insane, she got pregnant. She didn't want the kid. But she knew that her son's child was going to be in danger from the day he was born because he's actually the rightful heir and not a brother. Brothers don't always get the next crown up, it's always the son. So it is a fact that the current emperor, again, spoilers, the current emperor, his mom, and his biological mom all know that they were all swapped.
Yes.
And for some reason, I think her father took the fall. Maybe. I'm not sure when it came to the Empress, what actually, like the old Empress, what happened with that. I'm assuming she blamed somebody and blamed him. But they all know the truth and they keep it. Anyone that's in Jinchi's inner circle knows the truth because it's from the current emperor. He decided, you're going to be on my son's side, you're going to know the truth, and you keep your mouth shut, or I'm going to have your head. Flat out. And again, those little lines, those words have made a lot of people just goes over their heads. They're like, I don't even think she knows that it wasn't her kid. No, she knew, but she was protecting her grandson.
Yeah.
Granted, unfortunately, her actual child did die from a poisoning at some point by accident, but that's a whole thing. Doesn't exist anymore. He's gone.
Exactly.
So it's just a lot of fighting for no reason. If honestly you have doubts in it, go read the light novel. Go read after book 3. Because we're somewhat going into book 4. We're kind of in that transition, I've noticed. So light novels first. Now it's not always the case. Again, with the triangle, it's not always the case. Because sometimes it's the anime that comes first, followed by a manga and a light novel, especially if the light novel wants to tie up loose ends and stuff like that. And sometimes the light novel comes first, and then the manga, and maybe an anime, depending on how popular it is. And then sometimes it's just the manga, and nothing else. Maybe an anime comes out. Fruits Basket was an example of that. Manga, anime came out, wasn't that great to interpret the manga, and then eventually it came out again. Um, Generator Gall is an anime that was here in America in like 1998. I actually have the DVD. It's really good in my book. It's not very long. And there is like two mangas, two volumes of manga, and they're in Japan, and good luck finding them. They were never brought over. So, which way you want to look at it, y'all? Which way? I'm tired of the triangle. We got to work together. You're not going to get any more anime unless you buy the manga. She even tells you that in the light novel and in the manga. She goes, guess what? I'm coming out with a manga. Please buy it. Help spread the word. Hey, I have an anime coming out. Please spread the word.
Yep. And that whole point goes right back to what we were talking about when we were talking about types of manga fans and everything else, where it's like, hey, if you want to see something, you have to put your money where your mouth is, because manga is one of the few industries where it's fandoms and fans in general that tend to predominantly control the industry.
Yeah,
You want to see it,
we
it
control it
comes
all.
back out.
Yeah.
Like, I love
And
the re-release
it just
of Fruits Basket. That's one of my comfort animes.
comfort because of the trauma. It's okay. It's I just I mean, like I said, it all comes down to what you're reading. I've noticed it, and even the dog. So, like currently in the anime, we've recently started the hunt, which is where the frog scene comes in that everybody's gooing and awing over. Um, again, she has a misconception of what exactly it means to. Anyway, so this is where a lot of the confusion I think comes in for the poor woman. So it's the dog. I have noticed there's three different versions of the dog that the friend of her slash guard slash soldier slash whatever is um watching, because he's like, oh yeah, I was invited on the hunt, but turns out they just wanted to keep an eye on this dog. I may put a picture up, but there's three different versions. There's the manga version, there's the alternative manga version. Remember, we have two mangas, now we have two different drawings of a dog. uh, Alternative manga that's still in Japan only. Artwork's a little too weird for me. No offense to them, it's just a little weird to me. As to where this one's more set out, and I think this is the artwork they went on ahead with the anime too. So, from what I can tell, from what I've gotten glimpses of that I could find, again, not in English, so that's been fun. Uh, I can only translate so much. So, and then in the anime, it's kind of a slight. It's leaning more toward the alternative manga versus the one here in America, the first one. But supposedly by the author, it's a mashup between the two. They couldn't decide which one to go with. So yeah, there's three. There's three different versions, and it threw me off. It threw me off so bad. What reading and then watching and then all of it, and then going to find the other. But yeah, just it's interesting. There are some differences that are quite laid out.
And it's so funny too, because it's like it's the simplest little things that are different that have
Hmm.
everybody in this huge uproar. Like,
Hmm.
why are we fighting about this? What are we doing?
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. On some of the, I'm like, what?
It
Especially
makes
the
no sense,
canon stuff. I'm like, enough with the canon stuff.
right?
Canon stuff should only be brought in if you got like fan based artwork, or it comes to the fan fiction. That's not really canon because it doesn't come from her. All of these have come from her, the author. It's all canon. It's just somewhat weirdly a little bit off a few words from each other. And
We
depending
are
on what
not
you
a
see is what you
militia.
get.
We don't need canon.
I don't get it. I don't get the whole y'all are just making this shit up because it's not canon. I mean, I get the autism thing just a little bit because, like, it's not flat out, but then again, it's her story and her words, and she's not really known for. She tells facts, and then she may guess, and that's about it. So again, it's based on, the idea of it being a diary of her. So it's kind of like the Diary of Anne Frank. You just have to read between the lines a little bit.
Well, and I mean, realistically, just like anybody writing anything down that's not just straight fact,
Yeah,
it's their interpretation of the world, how you see the world. You know,
yeah,
how you see the world is different than I see the world, than, random Susie Q on the street sees the world.
yeah,
That is her experience, her way of seeing things through her eyes, and we're being let in on it.
yeah.
And you're going to experience it as you see the world. That's it.
Hmm.
There's no like stellar, fantastic, crazy like, oh, there's so many hidden messages and whatever. It's no. That's how she's experiencing the world, and you're going to react to it based on how you experience the world, and there doesn't need to be all this infighting. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
Like
I don't.
that.
I don't get none of that. It's not canon. Okay.
That's nice.
That's that's something that no one's gonna really know because again, it's written in the bias of when it was actually not considered an actual mental. Back in the day, you crazy, you get your head chopped off. Sorry, it happened. You got burned to the stake. You got killed. You got
Exactly.
casted off as a taster. I don't know. So it's just the small things. But it's been such an uproar about the small things.
Always.
Someone wants to be right. I'm laying out the facts because I did the whole triangle here for you. I'm watching the anime. Really good, highly recommend it. I'm watching it on Crunchyroll. For like a year. It's like $78. It was worth my time for a whole year. Versus what? Hulu and Netflix that want to upcharge you every fucking 3 months. Yeah. I'll take the yearly subscription. Be done. Oh, I don't have to worry about it for a year. And it's usually around tax season, so take it. So, watching on Crunchyroll. It's now getting on Netflix because it is popular as it is. They're jumping on the bandwagon. I can understand it. 100% recommend watching it if you have that there. Go buy the light novels. Heck, you could probably find them for free to read, but I don't recommend it. Uh Pirating. We're trying to move away from it, people. Yo ho
Yar,
ho.
matey, spend your booty elsewhere.
Well, we want you to buy. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? To fill your shelves. Get the manga, whatever you want to do. You want to be ahead? Go for the light novels. They are considered to be a little bit slower. The manga and the anime is a little bit more faster pace. But it's just what your cup of tea is.
How slow of a burn do you like it?
I don't even think it's that. And like I seen it with some of the light novel. It's just the way it was written. It kind of stretches it out, adds a little bit more details to some of it. Another change I noticed, it was a very small one, but another one is when they're on the hunt or they go to the hunt and the I always forget his name. His little right hand, Genshi's right hand man, son in the light novel and in the manga, they go to the side to whisper with each other. They don't talk about what they're talking about. They whisper to each other. And, he bops his son on the head. Whereas in the anime, you hear exactly what they say to each other. What do you mean she doesn't know? Well, he's going to tell her. Well, when is he going to tell her? And then he bops him. Mind your business, boy. So it's there that it's very slight, but there is that difference where you actually get to hear that conversation versus Mao Mao actually never heard the conversation. So between the manga and the light novel, it's edited out to a bah! She's like, I don't know what they're talking about. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's where the anime kind of tries to focus more into the surrounding story and not just to or just her point of view. So there's that. Again, I've been all up in roar about it.
I mean, it is a lot to take in, especially once you start factoring in the drama with everything. It's like, okay, like we
And
could
it's so
probably talk all day about
big.
this.
It's so big right now. So it's one of those that's starting to because it's new and taking new concepts.
Yes.
That's why it's so popular. It's not the typical tropes of magical powers. It's not the typical tropes of women in distress because she's kind of like independent. But she's not totally oblivious to everything. She gets it. She's smart, strong woman. Woo! Woman power. That lovely thing. So it's not something brand new. It's just newer to a lot of people. And I think that's why it's really popular right now. And again, highly recommend it. I really do.
This will be definitely one that I am continuing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna keep watching the anime. I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna when I get money, I'm gonna get the rest of them and actually like have that. And I may actually start getting the light novels too because they're really good. Um, but I am gonna keep watching the 100% because I'm kind of interested on which way they're going to go with some of it, that I've read personally, but which way they're going to go with it art wise and stuff, and how they're animating it. I love that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Woo!
If you made it this far in the episode, we'd like to say thank you. We couldn't do this without your support. If you'd like to subscribe and become an official Manga Mommies member, the link will be in the show notes. For the manga of the month, the PDF, copy, or free website is located in the description below. If you feel up to it, like, subscribe, and share our podcast so we can find more people just like you. We hope you have a great rest of your day, whatever time that happens to be, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Stay tuned and thanks for listening.